You know, the mere fact that a woman comes out and declares that I want to run is success already. Are you ready to be in the public glare? Because people will begin to judge, people will begin to see you and say, who is she? What is she all about? So those are the preparation a woman needs. And I think all those women who came out have already put that into consideration. I would say I'm quite excited about the number. And I believe that women are supposed to run for office to make impact. Especially, I want women to run more for legislative offices. Because that is how we can change a lot of laws and also reenact ones that will favor our righteous cause, I would say. So that will favor us, because according to what we have presently, there are lots of things embedded in the laws that have limited women, without us not even understanding. The men made the laws and they made it to suit themselves without even thinking about the women, because in those days when the laws were made, women were not out there doing a lot. They didn't have the education. So when we look at all those, it didn't really play too well. So women were quite, they were quite subservient to the men. So with the number that came out, I'm pleased, but it really is not just coming out. Are you also known by women? Because it's the women that vote these men in. Do they know you? What work have you been doing in your community? Because that is very, very important.
The proportionate of female in the National Assembly is low, below 10%. What should we do collectively to have more female representatives?
Even in the times of Moses, some women spoke up and they changed the laws of the land. They changed the laws according to the laws of Moses. They changed it forever till this moment. So if it had happened then, what is stopping us? And most people, on the other hand, will say, oh, I don't have money. But there's no one God created empty. Do you have a good will? Do people know you for your good deeds? Are you approachable? Money has never been the problem of me reaching out for my dream. And when I look at myself, I'm not somebody who actually wanted anything. All my life, when you ask me, what do you want to do? I'll say, I want to become a school principal. I've always, and that has been my strength. That was the gift God deposited in me, which could express itself in different ways. And that is what basically I've been doing. So with what she said, what we can do, even at the National Assembly, most of the bills are promoted. I remember my legislative aide telling me that where they sit at the plenary, they said, why is it that your boss is always talking about women and children? I said, don't you want me to talk about men?
I went to the Kirikiri prison last year, the female prison, and the conditions there is disheartening. The boss there, a woman, is doing everything she can, but the condition there, especially for those who have young children, especially for those who have their children in there, they live like in dormitory. Some of those women are there because maybe they were found wandering on the streets of Lagos and they don't have money to bail them out, and so they found themselves there. So I'm wondering, what else can we do?
Mine in particular, my amendment was for nursing mothers in prison, how for them to have a creche, how for them, and then from the bill they're trying to identify some prisons mainly for women now. And then the children born in prison, the prison shouldn't appear in their birth certificate.
So they're not prisoners.
They're not prisoners. So those are the things we're looking at and trying to amend. My heart goes out to them. And that is where I remember with very little, if I'm going into that, it will be too much, because the wives of our governors, those are the things and they should be doing, and they should, at least the problems we have in society are so many, but at least some of them can look into that, and before we reform the laws and do the amendment we have to do. But it's quite a very disheartening situation.
How have you mobilized women and actively get them to participate in politics to improve our statistics?
I've always worked with women, most of my critics are women, and especially the elite. I've worked with a lot of grassroots women, and I also enjoy their support. I've worked with them, see how I can empower them. Even for my days when my husband was governor, I've worked extensively with women and also youth. The men, they have a lot of advantages. So what is my business with them? Although funny enough, they are the ones that support me also most.
Can I also say that, seize the opportunity to say, men do support women.
They support me. All I have to do is get my campaign picture to be looking very nice. Men are very visual, so, and they don't really criticize us as much, despite they don't want to give us any space. But most women will want to go under the men. Just recommend me if I do this and that. You can't play politics like that.
No, absolutely.
Let people know you. Come out. If you come out this time to say I'm running, they'll be taking notice. And it depends on how aggressive you do that run.
Should girl-child education be enshrined in the Nigerian law?
Where we are now, I don't think anyone is preventing any child from having access to education. And I believe there's a law, which is the Child's Right Act, that, you are not supposed to deprive any child from getting education. Now, why don't we see this number with children? One, out of the male and female children, the female child will get a poor family more money through dowry, or marrying her off to a rich man to take my family out of poverty. So there's a lot of things playing up. The law is against that. So this has to do with the state of the economy. Right now, what am I doing? I'm mentoring girls between the ages of 12 and 20. I mentor 20 girls every year. I call it 24-hour Leadership Academy for Girls. So I take them 2 hours once a month. And then we have a syllabus that I drafted out, but I now teach them, because one of the things about leadership that are not God-fearing is also dangerous. So I'm using the word as a minister to also teach them the word. I'm a Bible school teacher. No, Bible college graduate. So I have a postgraduate diploma in theology. And so, and being a minister, I just felt that my boldness came from God. My confidence came from God. And once I came into myself, I thought I have to show these young girls early, so that they don't grow up and then feel lost. And at that age is the age for them to make decision of who they will become. So I pick out, we give out forms at the end of the year. I have another NGO called the Musical Youth Fiesta Initiative, where we host about 5,000 youth in December.
I want us to go into the dividends of democracy for Nigeria through the Senate. What would you say are the major achievements of the Senate positively impacting lives of Nigerians?
As the legislative arm, it is not our duty to go and impact the lives of Nigerians. Our duty mainly is to make laws, oversee the budget, and make sure that the budget that the government has proposed, are implemented. The executive are the people who are entitled to taxpayers' money. So they are the ones who are supposed to do the work. The Senate is supposed to now go committee by committee. I'm the chairman, Committee on Environment, to see that whether the budget for environment has been implemented. You propose to use this for this. Where is the evidence of what you used it for? So, but when it comes to constituents, you're supposed to engage your constituents. For me, I promised my constituents that every 3 months I will have a town hall meeting.
And you do?
Which I've been doing to date. I've been doing, and the last, you'll see some, and then we have our speeches. So just to give an evidence. So we do town meetings, and I rotate it in the old 5 local government. I have 13 local government and LCDs under me in Lagos Central. I host it in the 5 so that to make sure, and we move it all around. Our next town hall meeting will be in September. We are going to Lagos Island. The last one we did in Apapa.
Okay.
So we do that every 3 months. So I engage them because I promise them that whatever we do in the Senate, I have to come back and let you know. During that time, for me to invest in education, I distributed 255 GC forms, which would be given out. I empowered some young people who are doing tailoring and fashion designing. I gave them sewing machine, about 19 of them, sewing machine, a generator,
so
50,000. I equipped them. And before that, I also did, give them some tricycles, and those were given to area boys that have reformed themselves. So like soon, I'm going to be furnishing, I'm going to rent a shop for one area boy who said he's doing barbing. I'm going to rent a shop for him. I'm going to equip it and then give him money to start a business. So it's not the bulk of it.
It's a
whatever I can, the little things that adds more. At times I do more. I remember in those days I've empowered 650 widows. I used to do that.
Do you experience resistance in leading men?
Not really.
Not really?
Not really. I'm not somebody who is very social. But there's no one I can't talk to. There's nobody, I can't really share a joke with. There's nobody, I don't box myself to a corner, no. And maybe, and I've always been like that. I'm always been like that because I've never lived in a very restrictive, I've never been in a, tried to live in, to box myself in a corner. I've always been free-spirited, and I always also believe that if a door is opened for me, I don't close the door behind me.
So that other can come up.
And also that I can always have access. Access is very, very key with whatever you do in life. And I see some people, if they don't need you, they shut the door. They shut the door behind them. And then they come back knocking. And what is sad is the door might not be open to you again. So I make sure that once a door is open to me, I keep it open.
Do we need to engage political parties and government in a more systematic way or adapt a quota system?
To me, I believe that through legislation, they can give the women a slot to come into legislative houses.
Okay.
From there, yes, we can give a percentage. And that is what all these countries did. Despite Rwanda, they didn't have the population for men. We're not laughing, but because of what happened. But in the other country, it could be through legislation. We've talked about it, and even with other female legislators from other countries, and most of them were talking about legislation.
Do you think this will happen?
That was, for me, when they brought the gender equality bill,
yes.
I thought that is what we are supposed to go for. And I think if I had the opportunity to go to the next 9th Senate, I will start early and start working.
How do we deliberately act to ensure women support women as representatives and participants in governance, not as bench warmers?
Yes, I'm for it that a woman should vote for a woman. The women coming out should go on, engage their communities, engage other women, talk to them. It's not everything you give money to. Listen to them. Give them your word.
So what are you most proud of, apart from family?
Faith, my God. Because without him, I don't think I can do what I do. So I think, it's very, very important for me first, even before family. And it has kept me grounded.
Do you love Nigerian music at all?
I love Sunny Ade. I love a bit of Fela. I love Ebenezer Obey. I love K1. I love Alhaji Agba. I love, it's that old school. Salawa Abeni, are you telling me? She was there at my 40th. So, and, I can even sing Gently, Dini Mimi Oshe Fighter, and, but the current music, I've lost touch. Honestly, I remember when I was listening to Beyonce's Halo. And a young boy sang it. I cried. The words, you have to put words into your music, not just the beat alone.
Thank you very much. Distinguished Senator Oluremi Tinubu, we're grateful.
Thank you.
WFM 91.7.